Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Richard and Namaste Moore on the line. They're founders and CEOs of Infinite Couple Enterprises. Baba, Sri Namaste, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes, it's a pleasure.
All right. So we have quite a topic today, and we're going to be talking about ending the battle of the sexes. And I have to just give a quick shout out to Angie Meinhardt, who referred you over to us. So the big thanks, Angie, for inviting Baba and Sri Namaste. So I guess just to get us kicked off here, we'll start this episode the way that we start them all, with what we like to call our Mission Matters Minute. So, Baba, Sri Namaste, at Mission Matters, our aim and our goal is to amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. That's what we do. Mm-hmm. Baba, Sri Namaste, what missions matter to you?
The mission that matters to us most is that we want to end the battle of the sexes. We want to return the masculine to men, the feminine to women, and men and women to each other.
Yeah, so they can live their legacy.
So I have to ask, where did this journey start? Like, how did you get on this mission? I got to hear it. Where did it start?
We got on this mission because back when I was in corporate, I used to bring Namaste with me on my business trips. And everywhere we went, everybody we talked to, they were much more interested in talking about our relationship with each other than what the conference was about or what everybody was doing, etc. And so we ended up having these coaching sessions at bars, at restaurants, at the wine and cheese things, all of those things. And it kept going. People kept asking us about, what do you have that's so different from what we see every place else, even in our own lives.
So what was it? Like, what were some of the answers? Like, I want to be a fly on that wall. Like, what were some of the things that came from that? Because that's interesting. You got me, Baba. I'm hooked. What was it?
Well, one of the things that would come up quite often is that when we would tell people we don't argue, most people assume that arguments and disagreements and misunderstandings are part and parcel of having certainly a relationship, but in our case, a marriage that works, and that's just what you have to deal with. But when we told them we don't ever argue, they were like, I have to understand why.
Right, yeah. And what I would find is frequently with women and sometimes with men, there was this fundamental belief in a certain amount of distrust for one another, feeling unmet or like they couldn't really relate to each other, as if there were aspects of them that they were holding back from their partner, from their spouse. And when I explained that we don't do that with each other and why we don't do that, and the frameworks we created to kind of prevent that and ensure that we were always one in harmony and always one team and functioning as one unit, they never heard anything like it. Even when they had, even though a lot of these people had really good marriages, they never heard anything like what we were talking about.
But they would look at it like, most people looked at it like, well, if close enough is good enough for most people. And they're like, well, it's not bad.
Yeah, our marriage is good. We have a good marriage. But when they would talk to us, they were like, it's not that. And how do we navigate from where we are to what we call the legendary? How do we go from, the normal, the common, to, the iconic when it comes to our marriage? And so we began to engage in that way to support couples.
Now, were these, how did you develop these frameworks? Were they intuitive? Were they like based off of research you did? Like let's stay in the early days a little longer, because nobody's born with them, I don't think, right?
No,
like you had to, somehow you developed these things. Like how did that take place, and how did you systematize it or structure it?
Yeah, so
one of the things that I always say is that there's nothing that crystallizes what you do want than having what you don't want firmly in your grasp. And so both of us had come from marriages that did not work out. to meeting each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so we came into this with this almost fervent desire to never do that again.
Never do that. Yeah, never do that again. And by never do that, it wasn't placing all of the responsibility for what didn't work firmly in the lap of our previous spouses.
Right,
it
absolutely.
was looking at what is it that we, being well-intended but ill-informed, did not know or understand.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're pretty smart cookies, and, we have a lot of experience in a lot of things, but when it came to what it takes to form a unified marriage that continues to thrive. I mean, Baba and I have been together for over 20 years, and our marriage just gets better and better every year. And so, we realized that we didn't really know what it took, even though we had read all the books and done all the work. There was still something missing. And so we began to do research. So that's our part of it, our experiential part of it.
Yeah.
So we began to do the research on what does work and where it works at. So we studied things globally. We studied different indigenous practices. We studied where people had the lowest divorce rates and the highest amounts of happiness. And why. And then we took that, because we do have a background in spirituality. We added spiritual principles from many major religions, many minor religions, but more importantly, the spiritual underpinning of them beyond religion, the principles that really work, and the nature of the masculine and feminine. And when we brought all of those things together and synthesized them with our purpose for being, we came up with what we call the dyadic consciousness framework.
Mm-hmm. I want to stay on the research side of things a little bit longer. When you were going through the research and everything, was there anything that surprised you? Like, were there any findings or anything that, did you have like any aha moments? For me, whenever I'm doing research, or I'm going down, in my case, rabbit holes. I'm not creating full programs on anything like yourself, but just to be clear, right? But whenever I'm going down, I'll use the word a rabbit hole, and I have those aha moments. That's some of the funnest parts for me. Any aha moments, like things that shocked you when you were going through the research?
Yeah, one of the things that really shocked me was that there are over 6,500 differences between men and women chemically and biologically. And that is staggering with its implications. Mm-hmm. And so when you look at that and you peel the onion back a little bit, you recognize that not only are we biologically distinct, but we also carry unique energetic qualities as well that are part of this. When we understand them, we can create synergy. When we don't understand them, then we have discord and strife and all of those other things too. And so when we see society going towards homogenizing these qualities and saying, well, it's basically the same, it's not. We are not at all the same. And when we're in a position where we can celebrate our differences, as opposed to trying to wipe them out in the sense of trying to make things fair across the board, then I think that we are actually doing ourselves a service when we celebrate those differences as opposed to the other way around.
One of the big things that was a real, there are so many huge, like, oh my goodness, but one of the big ones was simply what the meaning of marriage is, what the word marriage means. Which means to bind together in such a way that it cannot be separated again, and to transition from being two things into literally one thing. And from that, in looking at that and really unpacking that, what we realized is that many times the way that people are taught to function in their marital relationships or to identify what a marriage is intrinsically flawed, because what they're doing is they're trying to remain two single people instead of becoming a marital unit. And it's rooted in a fear of loss of self. Instead of, if you turn that lens a bit, what you find is that you have this opportunity to become something completely new and completely different. So it's the height of evolution if you allow it to be. And that was very fascinating.
At what point, and was it before or after or maybe during, or did you always go into this with the concept of maybe creating a business such as Infinite Couple Enterprises? I mean, after you are already helping friends and helping people at conferences, as you mentioned, through just your day-to-day life. When you went into got kind of serious about the research part and everything else, was the intention to create a business, or did it kind of just happen over time? I'm always so curious about that.
It evolved over time. One of the things that really got a hook in me with respect to this is that marriage as an institution is something that humans do, is the one relationship structure other than biologically parents and children, but is that one relationship structure that adults choose the world over. It crosses all sorts of boundaries, political lines, geolocation. It doesn't matter. Humans have codified this relationship between a man and a woman as long as there's been people. And it is literally, I believe, the foundation of a healthy society, because it offers the bedrock upon which we build all of the other structures that we build in the society. They're all built on that foundation of that codified union, that marriage between a man and a woman.
And it's so important that, interestingly enough, this is another one of those research things that were like, wow, 99% of the top earners, of the people who have the greatest amount of wealth, especially entrepreneurially, are married. And so it's really interesting how much of not only our emotional state and the foundation of our society, but even our wealth and our ability to build empires and do it well and sustainably really does hinge upon not only getting married, but the quality, because it's not just having a wedding, the quality of the person that we choose and the quality of the marriage that we create. So it either will be something that will cause you to make money or something that causes you to lose money.
You had to say the other side, right?
That's why it's important to choose well.
That's why you have to choose
it's
well.
Literally the most important decision you're going to make in your adult life. It's who you travel with through this life.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, tell me a little bit about your plans and your vision to continue to grow this and to help more and more couples and just really help society as a whole. Like, tell me a little bit more about those plans.
Well, that's why we expanded it to, when we really got very granular as far as what we're doing, that's why we expanded it to ending the battle of the sexes. Because what we realized is that as long as men and women have a distrust or a misunderstanding, some sort of a competition, or in some way, each is not feeling comfortable and confident in being the fullness of who and what they are in the presence of the other. Having happy, amazing, not just happy marriages, but like we say, legendary marriages is more challenging, because if a woman doesn't feel comfortable in her womanhood, and if a man doesn't feel comfortable in his manhood, and they cannot, and they're at war with each other,
right.
then how, you come together and it's like, well, you're the exception to the rule, instead of seeing it as, we are different, and in our difference, we have this ability to really, in a really personal and individualized way, accept and love the true diversity between us. And if we can accept and love the diversity between us as men and women, then there is hope for us as a greater global, culture to accept and love all of the differences between us.
And you know what, Sri Namaste, I think that's a great way to end it. If somebody's listening or watching this and they want to follow up and they want to learn more about Infinite Couple, how do they do that?
You can go to our website at infinitecouple.com.
And you can find us on every social media platform, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. We're on every platform as Infinite Couple. And X as Infinite Couple.
Fantastic. And for everybody listening, just so you know, we'll put the links to the website and all that good stuff in the show notes so that you can just click on them and head right on over. And speaking of the audience, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe or follow button. This is a daily show. Each and every day we're bringing you new content, new ideas, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way on your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Baba, Shri Namaste. Thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.